I'm going to share a little bit today about Indigenous beading. So, beading is something that I have recently started to teach myself. I've been watching some YouTube videos, and I have a friend. She is Cree, and she is an amazing beader. So, I've been taking some lessons from her. I also got the opportunity the other day to do a Blackfoot beading workshop over Teams. So I've been learning slowly, but it is definitely something that takes practice. Does anybody like making bracelets out of beads? Put your hand up. Who likes beading? Yeah, lots of hands up. That's awesome. It is fun, but it takes a lot of patience, doesn't it? That hand-eye coordination. It's hard to get the bead on the string sometimes. So I'm going to share my screen with you, and I'm going to share some fun facts about indigenous kinds of beading. Did you know that Indigenous groups across Canada have actually been beading for thousands and thousands and thousands of years? So long before European settlers arrived on Turtle Island, what is now called Canada, Indigenous people were already beading. Now, we didn't have plastic beads or like those beautiful beads that we see on shirts and bracelets now. Those came with the Europeans, or Indigenous people had to use raw and natural materials for their beading. So if they wanted to decorate their moccasins or they wanted to decorate their regalia, which is their outfits that they wear for dancing, and for ceremony as well, or formal wear, they would have to make their own beads and they'd have to find things in nature. So up top here, you can see there's a picture, and that necklace is made out of sinew. So sinew is pieces of muscle from the buffalo, and then they would use things like teeth, make little holes in them. They use animal teeth, shells that they would trade with each other. They would trade with the indigenous groups that came from near the oceans. I think I said teeth and bones. They would use beads that are made out of seeds from trees. So, there's a one bead, it's called a wolf willow seed, and that's a kind of seed that we actually have in our coulis. It's a berry, and then you can turn it into a seed. It's pretty cool. So the Métis people, they came about when European people and Indigenous people had families together. And so those Métis people, they were inspired by European embroidery, which was a type of sewing, and Indigenous beading. And so they combined the two different methods, the embroidery and beading, together. And they came up with these beautiful floral patterns. So the Métis became very well known as the flower beadwork people. A member of the Blackfoot community, his name was Black Kettle, said that beadwork takes a lot of patience, and many people start a piece of beadwork but do not have the patience to finish it. When we see moccasins, sometimes we see that they're left plain, and sometimes we see ones that have beautiful decorations on them. The ones that have beautiful decorations, those ones are used for special occasions. And if you notice the difference between a Métis moccasin and a Blackfoot moccasin, you'll notice that the Métis moccasins generally have those floral patterns on them, and the Blackfoot moccasins tend to be more geometric designs. And that's because of the materials that they used to use. It was really hard to make small, detailed patterns with bones and teeth and shells. So I want to take your attention to the bottom of my poster here and look at this map. Now, this is a really cool and current project. So this is a map of Canada. And over the last several months during the pandemic, there's been a lot of Indigenous artists who haven't really known what to do with their time. And so together they came up with the project of beading their country. So Indigenous artists from all across Canada, they submitted their beading projects, and they had a big vote about which provinces, which beadwork they would use to make up the whole country. So these are the ones that they chose. So I'll send this poster to your teachers and you can take a look at it. I'm pretty sure on the next page, yeah, there's the references there. And so there's the reference for the picture of that beadwork, or you can even just Google Bead Your Province project. And you can take a look at all of the really neat details. You can see Alberta is right here, and it has the little wild roses. And I wonder what else you can find on the map. So that's all I have to share with you today, and I hope you guys enjoyed our facts about Indigenous beading. If you'd like to learn anything more about Indigenous beading, let me know, and I'd be happy to answer your questions.